First off, thank you very much for agreeing to be part of the 4A's 2026 Look Ahead Initiative. Our goal here is really that we're trying to help agencies anticipate and better prepare for the future by talking about the things and forces that are going to be shaping that future. So there's no right or wrong answers. This is really just about getting people's perspective and experience, talking to agency leaders and other folks that are important and have a voice in our ecosystem. To help kind of frame the conversation, we're looking at the world through two potential future lenses. One where we're either much more technology-driven solution providers, what we're kind of calling marketing agencies as marketing purveyors. So they're evolving into orchestrators of enterprise solutions and platforms, a little bit like where WPP has recently been going with their Pro One launch and things of that nature. The second being agencies as strategic pillars or strategic partners, where AI is more commoditizing execution and marketers strengthening their in-house capabilities. And therefore, agencies' value is really lying in their strategic imagination, their creative problem solving, and more outside perspective. And in reality, there's probably a continuum somewhere in between that agencies are going to find themselves as well. So within that kind of construct, what I'd love to just ask you to begin with is how are you defining the future role of the agency when we think about a world that's reshaping our industry through technology and client insourcing and AI?
I would say we're definitely leaning more towards the latter of what you just set up, meaning, um, we're optimistic in seeing technology and AI as the great enabler. I think if you go back to what we've been great at as an industry and the value we've created as an industry, going back to the very beginning, I could argue as much as our industry has changed so much, the core of what we do hasn't really changed that much at all, which is being able to understand and interpret human behavior and then employ creative problem solving in many different forms um, to connect brands and people. And I think in that context, what you were saying about AI and technology starting to commoditize some of the repetitive tasks, helping us get to insights faster, helping to analyze large data sets faster. I mean, I'm stating a lot of the obvious, but um, those those things that have typically taken a lot of time and hours from the agency start to become more commoditized and fast and efficient and eat at our fingertips, so to speak. The thing that I don't believe it can replace, and certainly we're hopeful it won't replace, is the human ingenuity, the creativity um, that we then bring as a result of that information.
Yeah, perfect. So if we look at it from the other lens, then, so as agencies maybe start to act more like platforms or enterprise partners, what do you think clients need most from an agency when they're looking at it through that point of view?
Well, I think the agency's ability to build the right tools to answer the questions that need to be answered. I think we're in a good position to do that. We have the data sets more broadly because we will have access to our data, our clients' data, but then also the other exterior stimulus that we're able to put together with it to come up with bigger, broader insights, ideas, work. Um, so I think in that regard, and I think some of the research you all have done has shown that the entrepreneurial spirit on the agency side has outpaced that of clients in terms of AI deployment and effective usage within the marketing area. It's not to say that corporations aren't employing AI in lots of ways, but I don't know that they're as able to get there as fast as we are from a marketing standpoint. So then, being the conduit for corporate marketing to become more efficient because of the tools that we've built and brought to them, I think is what you're starting to see happening.
Yeah, for sure. So then if we would play it like if this goes too far, let's say the pendulum swings entirely in that direction, what do you feel is lost if agencies go too far towards being more of a systems or a solutions provider instead of a creative strategist? Is there like a cautionary tale that agencies need to be mindful of in your mind?
Well, to me, it's a little bit like the pendulum swinging towards performance marketing in recent years, and when it swings too far that way, what tends to happen is everything regresses to the mean or to the same, and you start to lose creativity and originality. And I think, the what we've been able to do from a media attribution standpoint, and the different in the optimization and all the things we've been able to do with performance media is a good thing for our industry. But alone and unchecked, and as a sole solution for clients to grow, you're seeing its limits.
Yep.
So that's the best analogy I can think of, is if everybody has, eventually, if companies all have access to the same tools, the same data sets, uh, the same outputs, and we allow the machines to then decide what to do from there, then it's going to get watered down and it's going to get homogenous. You still need human creativity. You still need ideas in order to thrive.
Yeah, it's interesting. Almost as you start to tip too far in that direction, it once again asserts the importance of having the human creativity and thinking as the differentiator, which kind of brings you back into the more strategic, perhaps, side of it versus the platform side.
That's right. And it won't surprise me if we as an industry and marketers move in that direction until we start to see the perils of it, so to speak, or the downsides. Perils too strong, but and then I think it'll shift back towards the value of creativity will show itself once again.
Perfect. I know you've already kind of touched on this a little bit, but as we think about then the kind of the flip side of it of agency as more the strategic partner, once execution is largely automated, where do you see agencies really driving their value, or does that open up new territories for agencies to go into, or different places within the marketing, uh, maybe not even just relegated to marketing?
I think agencies will continue to become more consultative in nature, and I think what you'll have is fewer. Here will be the problem will be, I think a lot of the execution work that is done in our industry now that will be replaced by technology is where you learn the business. And so I think one of the big challenges we have, I know I'm not answering your question directly,
Okay.
is going to be talent development in the work that we do. So when we replace the executional or the task-based work, we're going to have to find other ways to get young people into our
Yeah.
industry and teach them our industry and teach them how to think critically and all those types of things. But I lost your original question. Do you want to ask that again?
No, your answer is much better than where I was
Okay.
going, so that's totally fine. So as you think about your own business at Barkley OKRP, how are you reinventing the business model? What are you thinking for IP and talent, or even ownership? What's that look like? And you guys have already had some discussions about ownership and what that means to allow you to thrive in this era, if you don't mind speaking about that.
Ownership of the agency, or are you talking about technology specifically?
I was thinking the agency, but
Well,
technology is too.
okay. Well, I mean, I think we're in a unique position because we're independent, but we're one of the few independents at scale. And what that means is our competitive set overlaps a ton with the holdcos. And so the holdcos obviously have the resources to build. You referenced WPP and what they're doing, to build these massive machines. And we do not have those resources. I think the trend that we're seeing with independents like us is bringing in more sophisticated finance people like private equity,
Mhm.
um, to help us think about how we approach this in a very smart way and a very efficient way, certainly with some better and deeper resources behind us from a financial standpoint. And the way we're thinking about it is, we can't get into a technology arms race with the holdcos, but we can be more nimble and creative in terms of how we go about it. So we typically, when we're looking at solutions, we're looking at off the shelf first. Um, if we can't find tools that do what we need them to do, then we adapt those tools or we build ourselves. So we really have kind of a three-stage approach. Whenever we're looking for technology, we ask ourselves, does it exist, and can we license it to start? Um, can we take that and customize it for our usage? And if the answer to those two things is no, then we're not afraid to go build things, but they're going to be a little bit more bespoke and specific to the things that we're trying to accomplish for our clients.
Great. So as we think about these kind of two different narratives of where the industry can go, do you feel like one is more viable than the other or a better bet?
I mean, I'm always going to bet on creativity, insights and creativity. So I think that I am not anti-technology. I'm not trying to be steeped in the past and go into the future kicking and screaming. Quite the opposite. I'm incredibly excited and encouraged of where we can go. And I think that people try sometimes to create a one or the other, either it's the humans or the machines. And the winners are going to be the humans who can work with the machines.
Yeah, for sure. So let me ask you, as you think about, the future and the talent that's coming up, is there one piece of advice that you would give to that next generation of agency leaders that will help to prepare them for the future of where our industry is going?
I mean, become as AI literate as you can personally. That's advice that I'm we're given to all of our leadership within the agency, all of our young people. I'm giving it to my kids. So use the tools, understand them, understand their possibilities, but also understand their limitations. So you know what they can't do as much as what they can do. So I mean, obviously, curiosity has always been a key part of being successful in our business. If you are stagnant or resistant to change, you're not going to survive in our industry. And so this is just the next iteration of that, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, fair enough. So let me ask you, AI kind of sucks up all the oxygen in the room, like it's all any of us are ever talking about. Is there something else happening in our industry? Is there another trend or influence or factor that you see that you think isn't getting the airtime that it needs, that people aren't paying enough attention to?
I mean, I think that's the big one. You did reference early in the conversation in housing or, client marketers finding more efficient ways to get things done. We definitely see that trend. As you know, within our business, we're actually addressing that with with the capability of helping clients who are going down that path. Because the reality is, it's not something we want to fight against either. What we want to do is help clients um, optimize their approach to marketing by identifying, where can we provide the most value, where can they be more efficient internally. We want to be their partner in that, not their adversary in that. So I think similar to technology, if we resist that, I think it will create conflict with clients. If we embrace it and are um, strategic about it and partner with our clients on it, then I think that we can be helpful. I think the AI and all the technology solutions that we're talking about and the ability to streamline and create more executional tasks more quickly and more efficiently, I think that's where you'll start to see a lot of things go in-house.
Yeah. Is there any of the big barriers out there that you're seeing, right? Is there anything that gives you pause or you think is going to get in the way of agencies being able to thrive in this kind of new era with AI and all the changes that are happening? Or
I think if we do these, the things that we're talking about, continue to be at the forefront of understanding the tools and how they can make what we do better and more efficient, and continue to employ the best talent and creative thinkers, then we're going to continue to have value for clients. I think I would not be surprised if our industry gets smaller overall in terms of the number of people employed directly in our industry from an agency standpoint. And I think there's going to be lots of offshoots on the technology side that are powering agencies. But I certainly would anticipate, I mean, we're already seeing it, certainly would anticipate that we should be able to do more with fewer people moving forward. And so I think agencies in the future will be measured less by headcount and more by, how efficient they can be and how smart they can be with senior, super talented people.
What kind of conversations are you having now with with like marketers and clients? Like what are they asking of you, or what are you seeing that they need from you guys as partners?
I mean, a lot of times we're just getting a very broad general question of how are you using AI? That seems to be the most common question.
Everybody, that must be on the top of the playbook,
It
right?
it is. So, we have our answer to that, our point of view on technology in general, our philosophy, and then diving in specifically to the tools that we operate with and how we use them and how they benefit our clients. And then, that's kind of at the broad umbrella level. And then client by client, there's just a lot of bespoke stuff happening. Like uh, our best clients are collaborators with us in terms of, hey, we could solve this in this way. Can you help us? And then, we're able to take some of our tools and create specific solutions.
Are you seeing that from that? I mean, I think you've always historically seen good collaboration between like the account leads and the brand marketers and some, maybe strategy and creative get in there too. Are you seeing that team dynamic actually now expand to include maybe more operations people and technology people? Like, is what collaboration looks like and where it's happening within both of your organizations changing in response to kind of where we're going?
Yeah, I mean, I think technology people have been a lot more client facing the last couple of decades, as the digital revolution has happened. But I think now different types of people from the ops and technology side are getting engaged with their clients. Yeah, I do think that's shifting a little bit.
And conversely, are you finding that you're having, as clients or as counterparts, people from other parts of the client organization that are outside of marketing more than you have in the past?
Definitely, yes. I think that's been a trend for a while. Um, Certainly on the technology side, but even across the C-suite at our clients, people are curious about what we're doing and how they might be able to use some of the things that we're doing in their areas of the business.
Excellent. All right, what am I not smart enough to know to ask you?
That's great questions, and I've given you very general cliche answers, so this
Not
should be perfect.
at all.
I mean, we've got so many teams of people that are one step closer, two steps closer to 10 steps closer than I am to what we're actually doing. I think from my perspective, the key things are we have to keep investing, we have to keep evolving, we have to continue to stay curious. And we also have to continue to stand up for the value we create for our clients. You didn't ask the question about if it's impacting fee models or revenue models with our clients. It is, but not necessarily in a negative way, just in how we structure. So, um, to your first question about kind of your how you set up the evolution of where the industry is going, that naturally changes how we charge clients away from FTEs and hours more towards tech fees and value-based pricing, which is the value-based pricing is something we've been talking about for so long within this industry and has been really hard to do. I think now the advent of the technology, the streamline and elimination of some of the tasks that take a lot of hours have created a necessity for us and clients to look at compensation in a different way. And so I definitely see that evolving significantly.
Good. It needs to,
Yeah,
for sure. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. This has been great. I appreciate you doing this and taking the time.
happy to do it.